Hey, what's up? It's Ryan Oakley here from photographyontheside.com, and in this video I am going to migrate our old Johnny Walker photography.smugmug.com site to the new SmugMug system. So this is going to be a little bit unique in terms of my typical tutorial. I'm going to pretty much be doing this kind of live, not really live, but kind of live. I'm not doing it with very many edits. I'm just going to open up the old Johnny Walker photography site and start tinkering around until I get it to how I want to get it in the new SmugMug site. Alright, here we go. So here's our Johnny Walker photography site, the one that I helped you create with the first SmugMug tutorial. And this is built on what's now called the legacy SmugMug system. It's a clean site. I've got a nice home page with a nice slideshow here, and I've got a portfolio page which has basically a collection of the best photos I have from my client galleries. That'll pop up here in just a sec. And it's got the SmugMug look and feel to it. Again, pretty easy and nice and clean. And then we click over to the galleries, client galleries section, which is just a list of the different client galleries I've got for my site. And then there's a work with me page where there's like a little bio and then a blurb about my services. And then at the bottom of the page is some testimonials. And then lastly, there's a contact me form that pops up. So when I was looking at creating the new SmugMug site, using the new SmugMug system, I actually didn't want to stray away from this nice, clean, simple site. I think it works really well. So what I ended up doing was creating from scratch the clarkkentphotography.smugmug.com site, and I've got a tutorial, a full complete tutorial that now helps you build this. And what we want to do with this tutorial right now is convert our Johnny Walker photography site, which was built on the legacy SmugMug system, to this site that looks like the clarkkentphotography.smugmug.com site. So let's look at some similarities and some differences from the Johnny Walker site. You'll notice the same menu bar. So we've still got a home button or a home link, a portfolio link, client galleries, work with me, and contact me. I still think that works really well for a website. You'll notice the slideshow is a lot bigger, and one of the neat things about the new SmugMug is the slideshow responds to different browser heights. So you can see the slideshow should pop up here any second. Let me hit refresh and make sure it does. And you'll notice that when the slideshow kicks in, it's going to resize according to the browser. So there we go, right there. And so as I zoom out and in, you can see that the slideshow adjusts accordingly. I added one small thing to the homepage just because SmugMug makes this really easy to do now, is I added some text at the bottom, which is a simple quote from one of my clients that the point of it being to grab a new visitor's attention and hopefully entice them to click on the Happy Customers link, which takes them to the Work With Me page. Now the Work With Me page was custom built. We had to do, in the old tutorial, it was a little bit more difficult to create, About Me pages and pricing pages and Work With Me pages. So I believe when I convert my old site to the new site, I'm going to have to build this page from scratch. And that's not a problem. It didn't take too long. It's actually one of the best things about the new SmugMug is how easy it is to create these pages. In the portfolio, it's still the same link. It's still a collection of the best photos from my client galleries. But one thing you'll notice is it's no longer looking like the old SmugMug kind of gallery layout. This is called a portrait collage, I believe. And I think it works really well for our portfolio page. And when we go into the client galleries, there's a little bit of a different look and feel here. It's a full screen, and this will look really good when you've got a whole bunch of different client galleries in there. And if we click on one of them, you'll notice it does look very similar to the old SmugMug layout. You got thumbnails on the left and the big image on the right, but it's a lot cleaner. The buy button, add to cart button sticks out a lot more, so that looks really good. and then we've got the contact me link over here, and that's pretty much the same. So all we're going to try to do is take our existing Johnny Walker photography site and convert it into this new style. Very similar, clean site, but using the new SmugMug system. All right, so here we go. So now SmugMug has sent me an email telling me that the migration from the legacy SmugMug site to the new SmugMug has occurred. And so when I clicked on that link, my site came up and this page came up to choose a design. So there's lots of options here. This is kind of where the overwhelm starts. It's also really exciting because a lot of these designs are really beautiful. But I already have a sense of what I want my site to look like at the end. So I ended up I'm going to want to choose a design that looks close enough to what I want, and then I'm going to customize it as I go. So the site that I think, after looking at a few of these, kind of matches the best and is the easiest to manipulate into what I want is this Ludwig design. So I'm going to go ahead and preview that, and Ludwig comes up, and I'm going to end up changing a bunch of stuff here, but I like the fonts and stuff, so that's why I chose it. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this design. Gives me a little note here before you jump in and get started. Please note this design brings in recent photos. Okay, so it's just telling me some stuff about this particular design. So right now my legacy site is still live, and so it'll stay, the legacy site will stay around until I hit the unveil new SmugMug. When I click on that, it needs me to type in unveil before the new SmugMug site becomes live. So that's just something important to know. I can mess around here without screwing up any visitors that are at my site. The first thing I want to do is go into the organize screen. So I want to make sure that my site's organized in a way that that makes sense with the way the new SmugMug sites organize things by folders instead of just categories and subcategories. So you'll notice that I had another, a category called Other, which is where I put my SmugMug site files. I had weddings and then client and professional. So the client galleries, I can I can change the name of this by going into settings. So I might as well go do that. So I'm going to change this to client galleries, and everything else should be fine. Hit the save button. I'm going to move some of these other folders around because they don't need to be or these galleries, because they don't need to be underneath these folder things. So I'm going to move my SmugMug files to be under my root directory, and I'm going to delete this other folder. Well, highlight it and then hit the trash can to delete it. Portfolio as well can go underneath the root directory, so I'm going to move that out of the weddings, the old weddings category, and delete the weddings. And then the work with me page, I'm probably going to end up getting rid of this gallery altogether, because in the old legacy SmugMug site I had to create a gallery and manipulate that gallery to create the work with me page. Now I can actually make a standalone page, but I'll just leave that for right now. I'll delete it. Should I delete it now? Yeah, let's be gutsy. We're going to delete this now. It's all going to change, so might as well make it clean right now. And then under professional, I'm going to delete that as well. So now I've got client galleries, and my client galleries are there. I've got my SmugMug site files, which has, I believe, my bio photo and also some, oh, it doesn't have a bio photo, so I'm going to have to upload a bio photo. Might as well do that now. So under SmugMug site, I'm going to go click the upload. I'm going to look under right here, me. So drag and drop that in, and then let that upload. Just takes a second. Okay, so go ahead and click the I'm done uploading when that's all in. Oh, looks like I got two. That's nice. I'm going to delete one. Okay, so that's starting to look good. We're going to end up creating a new page in here for our Work With Me page. Might as well do that now, hey? So under the root directory, click Create, and this time correct page. And we're going to call this Work With Me. And we're going to leave all of this as it is. Security and privacy, we can leave that as it is as well. So hit Create. And there, I think we're good. And just as a reminder, our portfolio is made up of kind of virtual copies of our best or our favorite photos out of the different client galleries that we've got. Okay, so let's go ahead and click Done to get out of the organizing screen. And we come back to our main site with the different options at the top here. Okay, so before we go customize our site, let's go have a look at a few things in our profile. It'll help us out as we go along as we use different blocks on the different parts of our page. So under my name, we can go Johnny Walker Photography. Site name Johnny Walker Photography, it's important to have a contact email in here, so I'm going to use an active one so that the contact form works. So I'm going to put that in. Put in your profile photo that we just uploaded. So go to my SmugMug site files and find your bio photo, put that in, and then description we can put Vancouver, BC, portrait and wedding photographer. And then under social, this is where you're going to put in your social media pages. So for Facebook, it would be facebook.com, and then you do / Johnny Walker Photography or whatever special page you have for Facebook. I'm just going to leave it here because I actually don't have a Facebook page for Johnny Walker Photography because it's a fake site. So, but I'm just going to put in a link here which will at least make the icon appear on our site. I'm going to do the same with Twitter and Google Plus and Instagram, just to give us a good taste of what these icons look like, and Pinterest. And I'll leave the rest there so I can go ahead and click Save for that. So it's telling me that I changed my contact email, so I need to go into my Gmail or Outlook or Yahoo or whatever it is, and click on the link that will verify that that address is true. So we want to go ahead and do that for sure. And now under Customize, we're going to go Customize Site. Here's where the magic happens. So on the top right hand side here, we'll dictate what part of your site you're changing and customizing. This is really important to be on the right page, to make sure it's how you want it to be. So when I'm customizing the entire site, when I'm doing colors and fonts, obviously it'll apply to every page on the site. Say I'm adjusting the home page and I'm adjusting colors and fonts. Well, only the colors and fonts on the home page will change. So so when we're changing things like in the header section here, which I'm going to do right now, I want to make sure that I'm highlighted under entire site. So I want to stack these elements on top of each other instead of having them lined up. So the first thing I can do is go find the Move button, and as I drag and drop, I'll get this green highlighted section, and that'll tell me where I'm moving stuff to. And it's a little bit off right now, but we're going to center it in a second. So we've got the title on top of the menu bar, and then we want to move the social media icons up above the title. So I've done that. And now I want to go into the options here on the logo, it's called, so that I can change the name of it and some other things. So I'm going to change this to Johnny Walker Photography, and I'm going to keep the text and everything the same. I actually like that font, and for the alignment I'm going to go to the center. And there it pops up into the center. Now you could definitely put in an image, and we had an image like a banner that we used on our legacy site. But for this site, I actually find that the text here works really well. One of the things I struggled with the legacy site was changing fonts to make them look good. With the new SmugMug, the fonts are actually really nice and clean and look really professional. So I'm going to leave the text in, but this is under logo is where you would put in an image if you've got a banner that you would want to use. So I think I'm good with the logo, so I'm going to go done there. And let's, the social media icons, let's go click the options for that. So click the wrench, and I want to go under display. And what I want to do is change the icons typed from square to circle. I just find this is a really kind of a lot of lines on our page, so I want something circular just to soften it a bit. Everything else I believe looks good. Now let's go check things out on our menu bar. And on our menu bar, I think all the defaults look fine. Just make a note that the collapse for mobile, we want that to be on, which basically, as you shrink your page, the site will be smart enough to adjust content to make it look good on an iPhone or an iPad or a small screen or a big screen. But one thing that's really handy is having this collapse for mobile, so the menu bar, as it gets smaller and smaller, instead of stacking all the separate links on top of each other, will eventually collapse into one link, which is called menu, which somebody can then expand, so saving space on a small screen, which is awesome. Now let's go change the links in our menu bar. We're not going to have browse and we're not going to have search. We're going to keep home here. Hit the plus icon and create a new link. This one's going to be called portfolio, and we're going to link to a specific URL. So we're going to link to a page that I choose, and the page is going to be obviously the portfolio gallery. So we're going to select it there and press done, and we're good there. So if we want to add more links, we can hit the back button with the links here and click that, press the plus button. And this next link is going to be our client galleries link, and it's going to point to a page that I choose. And this time, what I'm going to point to is actually the folder client galleries. So I'm going to go ahead and click that and include folder contents. What that would do is, if I have that selected on, it'll create a drop-down menu of all the different specific client galleries I have within that folder. I'm going to leave that off because I don't think that's necessary. Now I'm going to go back to links again, and this time I'm going to add the work with me page, which we've created the actual link for it, but we haven't gone in and customized it yet, but we will soon enough. So the page that I choose is going to be this work with me page. Click done there. Back to links one more time. Click the plus button, and this time we're going to create our contact me link, and this is actually going to point to the contact form. So we're going to click done on that. Now there's a couple things here we might want to look at, and that's the dimensions of each of these. I notice with the default Ludwig design, some of the margins were a little bit off, which actually doesn't make this quite centered. So let's go check on that. So we're going to hit the dimensions icon here. Check out the top margin, 18 looks okay, bottom margin's fine. So you can see the left and the right margins don't line up. So let's change the right margin to 24. And that'll shift the whole thing over, which is great. Let's go ahead and look at the options for, look at the dimensions for the logo bar. Again, we got the same thing, 24 for our left margin. I'm going to click done on that. And then on our nav bar, hit dimensions again and click 12 for the right margin. One thing I want to do here is I want to shrink up the distance between the Johnny Walker Photography and the nav bar. Let's go ahead and make this, let's just try 10 out maybe, or maybe 12. Give it a little bit of space, but not too much. The reason I want to do this is I want to kind of scoot everything up on my page a bit and shrink that whole header bar as much as I can without making things too squished. And then underneath the bottom, instead of 24, I'm going to do 12 for that as well. And I'm going to click done. So that's starting to look really good. Now I want to change the colors of this site. I want to make it white. I think white looks really good for a portrait wedding business site, which is what we've created here. So making sure we're under entire site again, go onto the theme tab, and there's a whole bunch of different available theme options which are going to change the background colors and the header colors and the font colors and the font types, a whole bunch of different changes. But I actually like most of the things in the Ludwig theme. So I'm just going to adjust the active theme here by clicking on the wrench. And then when I do that, I'm going to want to give it a name. So I'll call this JWP for Johnny Walker Photography Theme Design, something like that. Primary color, I'm going to change this to white, which obviously is a big change. Click the check mark icon there. The text color, I'm going to leave it as is, and the accent color, I'm going to change to a nice blue. And what this is going to primarily change is the color of the links on my site, and it's going to change the shopping cart buy now button, which is an important one. So I'm going to change this to a blue. The code for the blue I'm going to use is 1963AA. Go ahead and say OK to that. Again, I like the fonts, but here's where you would change some of this font stuff. Background, you can see the header is still really gray. That doesn't look good, so let's go change that to white as well. Keeping things nice and clean and simple. And then we're good for that, so we can click Done. Now, you notice that we've got the expanded SmugMug footer, and it's got a bunch of information there. So there's a few things we want to do to change some of these settings. So if we go up to Settings here, you'll notice our design name is Copy of Ludwig. You might want to change that. I might go Johnny Walker Photography Ludwig, just so I know that this is that we've made changes to this Ludwig design, and I can come back to it if I want to. So look at SmugMug header. I'm going to turn that off, and that's kind of a big bar that goes across every SmugMug page if this thing isn't turned off, which I think is, it's not necessary on our site. So I'm going to turn that off. SmugMug footer I'm going to turn off, but it needs SmugMug saying I need something in the footer that tells people it's a SmugMug site. So photo sharing by SmugMug is going to stay on. I'm just going to tuck it off to the left. It's also asking me for my default gallery style, and I want my default gallery style to be SmugMug and not thumbnails, so that the client galleries all look like the old SmugMug gallery, which is thumbnails on the left and the nice big photo on the right. And the favicon, if you want to put that in, you could click on this icon here, go into our SmugMug site files, and click on your whatever you want to use for the favicon and click Done. Now we're going to click Save here. Okay, great. So now let's go customize the home page. So I go under home page, and by default the Ludwig design just throws in this gallery that has most recent photos in it. That's not really what we want, so it's a content block, so we can go ahead and delete it and add our own content. So I'm going to hit delete there. It's going to ask me if I want to remove it, and I do. Now it's blank. So go into the content tab, and making sure we're under the home page, click on photo and slideshow, and you just drag and drop your slideshow in, and make sure you're highlighted, the green area is highlighted where you want it. So I want it right at the top there. And this is where we're going to define what this slideshow looks like. So it's going to be a gallery, and I'm going to choose the gallery, and it's going to be my portfolio gallery. So I click Done there. All these settings are good. The 4:3 aspect ratio is good. Content aware is good, and I think that allows you to have the slideshow be smart and know how big, adjust its own size based on the screen that it's being viewed on. So that's good, and we've got no title, so there's no title alignment to worry about. Under playback, auto start is good, speed is good, fade is good, transition speed. We can go ahead and add a splash image, and what that'll do is it'll be an image that pops up on someone's screen before the slideshow even loads. So if we click on that, just go click at kind of one of your favorite photos in your portfolio gallery, Let's choose, for me, I'm going to choose, doesn't really matter, but I'm going to choose, I'll choose this one. I mean, it does matter on your site. It doesn't really matter on my demo site, but you want to make sure that you pick a great photo because it'll be the first impression that your visitors will see. Captions, I'm going to turn that off just in case I have captions on. I want things to be clean on my site and in my slideshow, so I don't want captions. And under controls, I also don't want the navigation arrows or the play button or the full screen. And the reason is I don't want visitors to just stick on this slideshow on my homepage. I want them to do something. I want them to go basically find the Work With Me page so that hopefully they can contact me and we can work together and they can become a client of mine. So the slideshow is all done. We can click done there. I've also, if we go back to our the site that we're trying to mimic, which is this Clark Kent photography site, you'll notice I added some text at the bottom of our page here, basically because SmugMug makes it so easy to do so. But I find that if a new visitor comes here and sees my photos, that's great, they like it, but they might scroll down, and if they read like a little quote from a client, it might entice them to stay on my site a bit longer and hopefully click on the blue link which takes them to the Work With Me page. So I like that little feature. So I click the plus button over here to add another content block, and this time I'm going to add text, and I'm just going to grab and drag and drop, and there it is. So I'm going to copy this text in, and I've got to do a bit of formatting on it. I'm going to change it, the top part, to 32 font, and I'm going to center the whole thing. So I want to just go over to our nav bar here, our menu bar, hover over the Work With Me page, right click, and then copy the link address. And then back in our text box, I can highlight the Happy Customers text, go to the link button here, and then I can paste in the URL section our Work With Me page. So that should work just fine. So I'm going to click done there, see what it looks like. Yeah, that looks really good, just like how we wanted it. So now back to the plus button, and there's a few little things I want to do with our the all folders kind of section. So this is basically all folders is going to be what our client galleries page is going to look like. So any page that's got folder and gallery information is going to default to this look and feel. I don't want to change much. I do want to get rid of this breadcrumb here because I just don't think it's very useful for us. So I'm going to remove that. And I still notice that the folders and the galleries, everything's kind of pushed down a little bit too far. So if I go under layout, I can change some of the margins, and one of the things I want to do is change the top margin from 48 to 30. You can see that everything kind of got pushed up there, and I think that looks really good. So that looks great. And then if I go to the all galleries page, I want to do something similar. I want to remove the breadcrumb block, and then the gallery content under layout, instead of 48, I'm going to go to 30 as well, just to push everything up. And I think that looks really good. And I can go preview now and see kind of what my visitors would see, and just see how it looks. So we've got our social media icons, we've got our nice title, and then we've got a menu bar underneath that. We've got our nice slideshow and our text. Let's just check this link. If we press the Happy Customers, yep, we're taken to our Work With Me page, which we haven't customized yet. And then if we go into client galleries, we're given our client galleries here, and that looks good. Our portfolio, which we're going to do, let's go and change this now. So we want to change this from the portfolio page from the SmugMug kind of gallery look to the portrait collage. So let's go do that. So we click the exit to get out of preview. So go ahead and click done on this, and it says, do you want to publish these changes? These changes will only be seen by you while in the new SmugMug preview. Your live site will remain unchanged until you unveil. So even though you publish now, we're going to click this publish now button, the changes are only going to be made behind the scenes, and it's not until you do the unveil that it actually goes live. So go ahead and click Publish Now to make the changes happen. And let's go find our portfolio gallery. And under Customize, we can change the gallery style from SmugMug, which is the design default now, to Collage Portrait. And those photos are just getting loaded up now. That looks good. And you'll also notice I've got an Add to Cart button here, and I want to adjust the settings on this gallery so that there isn't an Add to Cart button, because I don't think visitors on my site are going to buy anything from a portfolio gallery. They're going to buy stuff from the client gallery. So let's change that. So we go Customize, and this time we're going to go Gallery Settings, and under Shopping, we're going to turn off the shopping cart. So let's turn that off and click Save. And now you see it's replaced by an Own or Buy button, but if we did a preview or made our site live, that blue button would go away. That's only there because we're logged in. Okay, so let's go create our Work With Me page. So if we click on the Work With Me page, we can go Customize and go Customize Site. And when you go into the Customize Site through a specific page, it's going to, by default, highlight that specific page, which is really important. So we've got just this page we're going to make changes on. So the first thing we're going to do is delete this breadcrumb because we don't want that. It doesn't add value. We want to mimic what's going on with the Clark Kent photography site. So the first thing up here is like a profile. So if we find the social content block, we can drag and drop the profile in, find our green section, and there it is. And let's go make some quick adjustments on that. So we've got our bio photo in, and that's great, and the name, which is good, and Vancouver, BC portrait photography. But in my site, I actually want to get rid of my social media icons here because I want them further along in my page. So you can keep them here if you want, but on mine, I want people to read about me a little bit more and then decide to come to my social media sites. So I'm going to click off on all of these to get rid of those icons. Okay, so that looks good. Okay. So I'm going to click Done. And now I'm going to hit the plus icon again, and I'm going to go find some text because we're going to do the About Me page, About Me section here. Look for that green bar, and I'm going to go copy and paste some text in that I've got over here, and you can write your own About Me section. And so you'll see in my Clark Kent page that I've got a blue text here, which is a hyperlink to tell people, to invite them to go check out my portfolio. So I'm going to highlight that, go to our menu, right click on it, copy link address, and then when I go in the link icon, I can go into the URL and paste that link, and there it shows up, and that looks really good. So I'm going to click Done. And now I'm going to create my services section. So, before that, I'm going to add my some social media icons. So go press the plus button, go to social, and there's social icons, and we'll go hover underneath our section here and add those, and we got to customize it a bit. We are going to have all of our Instagram and Pinterest and all that stuff in there under display. Instead of small, let's go medium on this section, and type instead of square, we're going to go circle, and then we're not going to center it, we're going to put it to the left of the page. And that looks really good, so I'm going to click Done on that. And now you'll see it on our Clark Kent photography site, we've got a line here which just separates the sections. So I'm going to go find that under plus, under design, there's a separator. So if I drag that down, a nice gray line pops up, and that looks good. And then next we're going to add the services title. So go plus and text and title, drag and drop that underneath our site. and it pops up there. One thing you'll notice as you start adding content lower and lower on your site, it gets a little bit more kind of, what happens is, for me anyways, that the site starts to scroll uncontrollably. What I do then is just let go of my mouse, because I'm holding the left mouse button to drag the content in. I just let it go, and it usually drops in where I want it, and if it doesn't, I just move things around until it's where I want it. So we're going to change the title from Work With Me to Services. Text size is good, alignment is good. We're going to change the default color to accent so it looks blue, which stands out a bit more. So it looks good. Now we're going to keep adding some more text, I believe. Yep, we're doing some text this time. So same thing, kind of hover underneath services, it'll start to scroll, but then if I let go of the mouse, everything works out well. So I'm going to copy and paste my services text. And that looks good. And then I'm going to add a photo here. So I go to my content block, add a photo, I go single photo. And this time for when I want something beside a piece of content, I make sure that there's a vertical green bar showing up, and then I let go of my mouse. It's asking me what photo I want. This time I'm just going to find a nice photo that represents my, oops, I don't want to do that. Go back to my client galleries, just a photo that looks good in this section. So if I go to, I've got a particular photo in mind, and just wait till these load and then I can find it because I think it's the very last one. Yep, there it is. Click done, and that looks good. Everything else I think looks good for that. And click done. And now basically when you go back to the Clark Kent, the next thing I would do is another separator, and then another title block, and then photos and text just like we just did them, and just do that until you've got your testimonials on your Work With Me page as well. And then the Work With Me page will be done. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then come back and finish up our site. So now I have added some more testimonials here, and I believe our Work With Me page is complete. So I'm going to go ahead and click done and go publish now, and just have a look around and make sure everything's as I want it to be. So I've got our Work With Me page here. Links are there, and our social media icons, services, testimonials from happy customers, and that looks really good. And check to see if our contact form is working. There's our bio photo and email address and all that stuff. So that looks good. Could cancel there. Check out our client galleries. Yeah, everything looks good. Looks like it's working just fine. And our portfolio should be that collage, perfect. And lastly, our home page. So when you think you're all done customizing your new site on the new SmugMug site, you can abandon your legacy SmugMug site and click the Unveil New SmugMug, and it wants to make sure that you're ready for this. It says, are you ready for your admirers to see your new hotness? All of your visitors will begin seeing your new SmugMug site, and your old design will cease to exist. So I think I'm ready to go. Anything that I want to change, I'll be able to change with the new SmugMug site. So out with the old, in with the new. Click Unveil it. Perfect. So now when I go under my site name and I go log out, we're going to see what my visitors see, which is this brand new, beautiful looking site. I'm really happy with it, and I'm probably going to leave it just like that. Alright, so good luck with your conversion project, going from the old legacy SmugMug to the new SmugMug. I hope it's as smooth as possible for you, and I hope this tutorial helped you out. Thanks, and we'll talk to you later.